you see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world.
This is the Wrestling Matters podcast where we stand up for professional wrestling.
Here we fucking go!
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up!
Yes, 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 yes!
That's 13-14!
Make it to death!
Cena, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line! Cause Stone Cold Simpson!
I fade away and classify myself as obsolete. Hello everyone, my name is Anthony Walker. Welcome to the Wrestling Matters podcast. What a way to start there. Sorry, I've just been watching a shit ton of Jeff Hardy stuff, to be honest. Oh god. Yeah. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 145 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. How are we all doing? I hope you guys are well. I've had an interesting week. Very interesting week, but anyway, very knackering week too. And it's only going to go from here. Thankfully, I have a 2-week break in terms of my job and everything. So, yeah, hope you guys are well. Today, we're going to talk professional wrestling, as we do on this podcast, ladies and gents. I've got a few things that I want to talk about in terms of Wrestlemania as well, which I'll get to later. But we're going to talk Raw, Smackdown, 205, NXT, TNA, no Ring of Honor this week. That'll probably be back next week. I'll throw in some maybe one or two. You know what? I'll throw 2 top 10s from War Culture in there, and anything else I can throw in as well. Now, throughout this podcast, during my commercials section, when I go to break, you're going to hear some new commercials. Excuse me. You're going to hear some new ads, some new commercials regarding the Wrestling Matters podcast, you know, where you can find it on social media, a few other stuffs here and there, and a few promotions here and there as well. I've decided to put that in there. I'm still going to do the usual routine here, but if you want more of this, listen out for the ads during the commercial break as well, so you'll be able to get some in there as well. I've done some changes in terms of ad commercials now as well, so I've figured out some ideas of what I wanted to do, and I've executed them, and hopefully you guys will enjoy them, and it's like a newly improved kind of thing. Like I said, one step at a time though. All in all, guys, the Swerve Talk Network is where you can listen to this podcast each and every week, along with Sunday Segway, Offshoot Radio, Max Wrestling, and everything else that is on there as well, each and every week. Check them out, guys. Like I've said many, many times, the Swerve Talk Network, at Swerve Talk Network on Twitter. Check them out. You know, it is what it is at the end of the day. It is what it is. Podcasts, and I believe James Belmont said this one time, we are the elite, and we are the elite, no question about that. Now, ladies and gents, Wrestle Island as well. Be sure to look out for them. I will probably mention them again at the end of the podcast, but Facebook.com/Wrestle Island, Facebook.com/Back to the Island for Mystery Island. For more information on there, check them out. Check out who's coming to the shop. Check out anything else that's on there. I don't have any information regarding Wrestle Island at this moment in time. But like I say, Facebook.com/Back to the Island. Facebook.com/Wrestle Island as well. Also, shout out to the partners. And shout out to everybody else who's listening to this podcast. Because it's Wrestling Matters. Now, also, shout out to Rick Dada and Rodriguez Talk Brunch as well. Listen to them each and every Monday, right after Raw. That's right, Monday Night Raw plays, and then when Monday Night Raw plays, boom, Talk Brunch Radio. And anytime they always go on there, it's not just that segment as well, Monday Night Raw. You know, it's not just that spot as well. They come up whenever they can as well, whether it's UFC, whether it's, you know, maybe after a pay-per-view, WWE pay-per-view, you know, whatever. Just look out for them at Talk Brunch on Twitter as well. Follow them. Keep up to date with anything that's going on at Talk Brunch. Now, coming up on this podcast as well in the near future is an interview that I will have for Nikki Adams. as well. Wrestler by the name of Nikki Adams. I've never met her, never talked to her or anything like that. But I'm getting it hooked up, so look out for that in the podcast in the upcoming episodes. Now, something very interesting happened this week. Wrestle Kingdom 11, with probably the most darndest match I have ever seen in my life. I have been a wrestling fan for fuck knows how long. I lost count when it was about 10 years, so it's longer than that, no question about that. I've been a wrestling fan all my life. I am proud to be one. Okada and Kenny Omega for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom 11. It is up on social media. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook as well. I was watching it the other day. Go and find that match. And Wrestle Kingdom is actually up on YouTube as well. I'm not going to say where. You just have to find it yourself. Oh my fucking God, that match. That may very well be, and I'm not big on Japanese wrestling yet. I want to be. But, you know, there's this stuff and everything. Holy shit, did I witness a great match as well this past. That was the greatest match I've ever seen in my life. Okay, and it's going to be very hard to top that match. There's no question about it. Definitely the best singles match. If you haven't seen it, Okada, Kenny Omega, Wrestle Kingdom, just gone. Check it out. You will not regret it, trust me. As well. Also, a big thank you to everybody who supported the WCPW podcast that I did this week as well. Yes, Kirbymania was on this week, Thursday night, and I actually enjoyed it. If you haven't checked it out, go and check it out. It's on the YouTube channel. That's right, AJW Wrestling Matters, the Wrestling Matters YouTube channel. Go and check it out. Look it up. It's WCPW Kirbymania review. So just check it out. It's in there, and it's getting a lot of views as we speak right now. So cheers, guys. Also, bit of news this week regarding Wrestle Kingdom. Adam Cole is now the Ring of Honor World Champion. Again, he's now a 2-time Ring of Honor World Champion. Oh, no, correction, 3-time Ring of Honor World Champion, from what I've got, if I'm mistaken. Yes, I believe it's a 3-time Ring of Honor World Champion as well. And the reason why that has happened, ladies and gentlemen, is I think Kyle O'Reilly's on the verge of signing with WWE, because WWE are heavily interested in him as well. I think Adam Cole is WWE bound, but I don't think anything of that will be happening until May. Because he's contracted until May, and he's not allowed to talk to them until May. Something I don't know about that. So that's why they put the belt on him for now. But Kyle O'Reilly seems to be WWE bound, from what I'm reading and from what I'm getting. So, yeah. Also, there's some news this week that I picked up, and that is the reason why AJ STyles and Undertaker match, or the Undertaker feud, has been cancelled. And I've got it, the website. I will put the website in the description. I'll read some of it. I won't read all of it. I don't want to bore you guys. But according... just let me check, see if I've got the right thing here. I'm not missing anything out. I've got the reason here. Taken from December 31st. It was announced during the week's edition of Smackdown that John Cena will be challenging AJ Styles for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Which means we won't be getting the Undertaker Styles like the rumors have been claiming for months now. WWE is planning for all three men to have huge matches at WrestleMania 33 next year. But there's a lot of speculation about what will happen before then. First and foremost, John Cena returned to WWE TV, which was on SmackDown, and now it is the WWE Championship shot at the Royal Rumble in the Alamo Dome. How that worked, I don't know. But anyway, there's a lot of speculation about the possibility of Cena walking out of San Antonio with the WWE Championship, which I probably think will happen, quite frankly. Like I say, he's going to be 16-time world champion. It's just a case of when. It would be his historic 16-time world champion, which is, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And it would set WWE programming on an interesting path heading to the grandest stage of them all. It has been reported that Cena and Styles will continue their feud into February, into the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. So Elimination Chamber's back. But their feud will extend into WrestleMania if WWE officials are interested. There is a lot of speculation why WWE choose to cancel the Undertaker Styles for the WWE Royal Rumble and went another match between Cena and Styles for the WWE Championship. But it was revealed why they made that decision. You know what, I'm going to read it. Fuck it. According to report, the recent dismissal of WWE creative writer Thomas Casalello, I hope I said that right. If I didn't, I apologize, has led to a lot of changes in WWE programming, which includes reigniting the feud between Styles and Cena, instead of booking Deadman versus the Phenomenal One at the Royal Rumble. Apparently, WWE officials have new creative plans for The Undertaker heading into WrestleMania 33, and they may involve a surprising name. Another report is claiming that Vince McMahon wants to move forward with Roman Reigns versus Undertaker for the grandest stage of them all next year. It seems that WWE officials will book Taker in the main event of WrestleMania against Roman Reigns or John Cena for the WWE World Championship. On paper, that means both men are likely to win their respective title matches at the WWE Royal Rumble to set up the feud with The Undertaker. So, Roman could win the match between Roman could win the match between him and Owens. Styles could lose his belt for Cena, which is what makes more sense. Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker would be very interesting, especially if it were for the WWE Universal Championship. However, the more popular opponent for the WWE Universe will be Cena and Taker. But the feeling is their match wouldn't put over the future of the company, so Reigns and Taker may be the best way for the former to be crowned the top star in the WWE and earn more respect from the WWE Universe. I will put this in the description, ladies and gentlemen. Beating The Undertaker is going to put Roman Reigns over. I doubt that. The WWE World Champion, the world title picture on SmackDown will feature Cena and Styles and The Undertaker, no matter what decisions are made by the WWE creative team. It has been reported that all three men could find themselves in the triple threat match at WWE's WrestleMania 33. Which could be the best option for them. John Cena would be able to win his 16th World Championship. Undertaker wouldn't have to take a loss on the grandest stage of them all. And Styles could be in the main event of WrestleMania after being one of the top performers in WWE since his debut a year ago at the Royal Rumble. Fortunately, the WWE Universe won't have to wait for WWE's creative plans to be revealed because WWE's Royal Rumble is right around the corner. Hey. It was revealed recently that The Undertaker will be making his return to Monday Night Raw on January the 9th, which is tonight edition. His appearance could be to continue the hype for the WWE Royal Rumble in San Antonio, but it will also lead to more speculation about his role heading into the pay-per-view. For now, we know WWE officials are figuring out how to put the pieces of the puzzle together to fit for WrestleMania, and The Undertaker will be involved. So there you have it, guys. Like I said, I'll put it in the description below. You can read it for yourself. So there could possibly be a triple threat match at WrestleMania involving Styles, Undertaker, and Cena. They could possibly be Taker versus Cena, or they could possibly be Roman Reigns versus Undertaker for the Universal Championship. Either way, what I've just read there leads me to believe that The Undertaker is going into the Royal Rumble match, and it seems that WWE are pushing The Undertaker to win it. From what I'm getting, that's just my assumption on that, guys. Basically, it's there in writing for you. You can go and check it out yourselves. So that leads me to believe that Goldberg will probably go up against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, because something's going to go down between them two at the Royal Rumble. Hopefully Goldberg would win. I would like to see that. But from what I've just read there, that leads me to believe that Undertaker is going to win the Royal Rumble match in San Antonio, which will lead to him making a decision, like they do. Because if you win, you have to make a decision. Which brand are you going to jump on? You can go to the Universal title, and it'll be Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker. Or you could stay on SmackDown and you'll have John Cena versus The Undertaker. Or more than that, you could have a triple threat match. Cena, Styles, Undertaker. Depending on how things go after Elimination Chamber in February. This is going to be interesting, guys. There's no question about it. I would probably, would I like to see Roman Reigns versus Undertaker? Yeah, I would. I'd probably much rather see that than a Braun Strowman match, quite frankly. I mean, no offense to Braun Strowman, he is vastly improved from what he's done before, but it's a different kind of thing. It's a different kind of thing. Well, for me anyway, because at the end of the day, you don't want to have Braun Strowman's push ruined. So at the end of the day, Undertaker and Roman Reigns is appealing to me. I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how things pan out in that respects as well. So, but like I said, WrestleMania 33, works for me. There's no question about it. WrestleMania 33 works. How much does it work? We'll have to find out. Like I said, we won't know until the Royal Rumble. And also tune in tonight on Raw because Taker's back, so you'll probably get a sample of it tonight on Raw. Other than that, guys, hope you guys have enjoyed that. That was my opinion on that. I'm going to wrap it up here. Look out for the new ads. Like I said, I've been creating some new commercials, if you can want to call them that, whatever you want to call them. But that promotes my stuff as well as other things as well. So, yes, it's my voiceover. Hope you guys enjoy them. It's a newly improved look in that respects to the show. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll be back right after this with Raw, Smackdown, 205, NXT. So, stay tuned. If you enjoy the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out the Wrestling Matters podcast right now on YouTube at AJW Wrestling Matters. You can also check it out on SoundCloud at Wrestling_Matters_podcast. That's /Wrestling_Matters_podcast. Also, check it out on Radio Big World as well. For more information on them, you can check them out on SoundCloud and the Swerve Talk Network as well. For more each and every week of the Wrestling Matters podcast, weekly podcast that talk about the best in professional wrestling today, whether it's WWE, Ring of Honor, TNA, ICW, Progress Wrestling, and the list goes on and on. Only the best in professional wrestling. Why? Because wrestling matters, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to part 2 of the Wrestling Matters podcast, guys. Hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are well. Whatever it is you are doing, hope you guys enjoyed the podcast so far. Now, let's do it. Monday Night Raw. The Raw results, SmackDown. We'll throw in NXT in there as well, and we'll also throw in 205 in there as well. Raw preview this week is the fact that Taker's back, as well as Shawn Michaels. Why is Shawn Michaels back on Raw? I don't know. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But last week's episode of Raw had this. Raw General Manager Mick Foley announced the premiere of the Kevin Owens show, and Stephanie said that his first guest would be Goldberg. Seth Rollins defeated WWE Universal Champion Kevin Owens by disqualification, which set up the match later on in the evening. Which was a setup for the match later on in the evening, which I'll get to in a second. Carl Anderson defeated Cesaro. Will they get a tag title shot? Probably. Braun Strowman destroyed Sami Zayn in a last man standing match. Xavier Woods beats Titus O'Neil. Drew Gulak defeats Cedric Alexandra. US Champion Roman Reigns defeat Chris Jericho, thanks to a little bit of help for the fact that Kevin Owens was barred from ringside. And that I was disappointed in the way that match ended, quite frankly, which I'll get to in a second. TJ Perkins beat Brian Kendrick. Rusev and Jinder Mahal defeat Big Cass. Bayley defeated Nia Jax, and she's back as the number 1 contender for the Raw Women's title, and Goldberg appeared on the Kevin Owens show, which I'll get to in a second as well. US Champion Roman Reigns defeated Chris Jericho. The reason why I was disappointed in the way this match ended, yes, Roman won the title, retained the title, yada yada yada, but Chris Jericho did an Eddie Guerrero impersonation, and it should have ended there. I was saying this to Rick on Facebook and that. If only that had ended there, that would have been fucking great if it ended at that point. But obviously, the John Cena 2.0 retained the title. It was a hard-fought match, and it was a great match. I think it was the best match on Raw, if you ask me. But that's just me. And Goldberg appearing on the Kevin Owens show. He comes out and basically calls out and gets in the face of Chris Jericho, saying that he's first, and then doesn't back down from from Kevin. Kevin saying he's delusional because he has this thing that he's going to win the Rumble and then fight Kevin Owens or Roman Reigns for the Universal title at WrestleMania. Paul Heyman tried to come out, stick his 2 cents in. Goldberg put him in his place by basically saying he'll finish what he started at Survivor Series with his client. It was just great, man. It was just great. And then Braun Strowman comes down, says that he's going to win the Rumble, and the next minute Roman Reigns, who came out and got in the face of Goldberg, I wouldn't mind seeing the Roman Reigns versus Goldberg match, but them two ended up spearing Braun Strowman to end the match, and to end Raw, and then the segment even, which was just phenomenal. So I got a little sidetracked there, ladies and gentlemen, but anyway. Smackdown main talking points. The Smackdown main talking points. Maurice slapped Dean Ambrose, which just pissed Dean Ambrose off. Baron Corbin defeated Dolph Ziggler. Kalisto came out and saved him from a beatdown from Corbin. But then as Dolph got back up, he exploded and basically super kicked Kalisto in the face. La Luchadora gets beat by Becky Lynch, but then it ended up being 2 La Luchadoras because the La Luchadora who faced Becky turned out to be Alexa Bliss. The other one came down who appeared the week before and they put a beat down on Becky. AJ Styles and John Cena's official contract signing for the Royal Rumble turned into chaos. Although it was great, then Baron Corbin come out, got involved and picked a fight with Cena, but Styles attacked Cena from behind and basically that was it basically. Which all leads to John Cena versus Baron Corbin this coming week on SmackDown. Carmella defeats Aaliyah with James Ellsworth in the corner. What the hell that is about, I don't know. American Alpha versus Breezango, and then they got a little message from the Wyatt family, and the Wyatt family will evoke the rematch clause, and this coming week will be for the tag titles. Natalya and Nikki Bella had words, and then Dean Ambrose defeats The Miz to end the Intercontinental title reign of The Miz, or the second Intercontinental Championship reign, the reunion tour as it was called. And Dean Ambrose is now the Intercontinental Champion, which I find weird considering he was the one who brought the WWE title to SmackDown, and now he's back to the Intercontinental Championship. Anyway, all in all, The Miz wasn't very happy about that on 205. He vented his frustrations out at Daniel Bryan and Renee Young and basically exploded. If you haven't seen it, go and watch 205. It's getting to the point right now he's just being a big crybaby. That's all it is now. Anyway, NXT, which I believe was in Australia this week. Yep, tear it up in Melbourne. DIY and TM61. The Revival defeat Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli. NXT champion Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Samoa Joe in a cage. Ty Dillinger and Buddy Murphy defeat Bobby Roode and Elias Sampson. Ember Moon defeats Billy Kay and Liv Morgan in the triple threat match. And DIY defeats TM61 to retain the tag team titles as well. DIY being Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. And the Australian boys couldn't get the job done in their hometown, or in their home country, unfortunately. But they did put on a good show. Now, 205. Let's go up to 205. That was the NXT. Let's go to 205, and then we can end this part. 205, so if I can get him up, and this freaking computer stop being a pain in my ass. Oh, fuck's sake with this blasted thing. I did see Tajiri on 205 this week as well. Putting Kendrick in his place, which I'll get to in a second, if it'll let me. There we go. Tajiri beats Sean Maluta, and Kendrick comes out, I think tries to form an alliance with Tajiri, but gets missed in the face. Yep, shakes his hand, and then Tajiri misses him in the face. Jack Gallagher defeats Tony Nese via disqualification. No doubt Daivari probably got involved in that. I didn't see that match. Mustafa Ali defeats Noam Dar, and Neville makes his statement by defeating TJ Perkins on his quest to take over the Cruiserweight division. And there you have it, guys. That covers the WWE for this week. Well, in terms of shows. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And I'm going to end this part here, and I'll be back in part 3 with TNA. So stay tuned.
There's only one wrestling podcast that gives you honest, uncut opinions and the most unique trivia since WWE did the weakest link. And the only place you can hear the show-stealing podcast promo every single week.
Covering WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground. Max Wrestling Podcast is the place for you. Join myself, Evan Money McCabe, the Phoenix, and Butcher. Sundays at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern time with your host, Danny Dangerously, on VOC Nation and the Swerve Talk Network.
Go to maxwrestling.wix.com/maxwrestling or follow us at maxwrestling UK for more details.
Give in to the madness.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kinny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shubs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome back to part 3 of the Wrestling Matters podcast, guys, and welcome to the part where we call TNA. That's right, it's TNA time. And it's a new and improved TNA, ladies and gentlemen, because there was some news over the coming week, after last week's episode. TNA has new owners. Anthem have acquired TNA, and now they're in charge now. And I was about to say Dana there. Dixie is gone for good, done. So Anthem are now in charge. Jeff Jarrett has been hired. Why the fuck is Jeff Jarrett being hired for? I don't know, but I guess this is what happens when you can't get GFW out of the fucking gutter. So, I'll go back to TNA for a bit. Yeah, see it. But he's been hired as a executive consultant. What the fuck that means, I don't know. Well, I know what it means-ish, but I don't know what it means in regards to TNA. And Dutch Mantel's back in TNA as well as a creative consultant. As well, Seb Coulter to you and I. But, it's TNA's back in business, but it's a new and improved TNA. New logos, new everything. I said new and improved. That's an understatement. But the results of TNA from January 5th were Moose defeated Mike Bennett by split decision to retain the Impact Grand Championship. Swoggle beat Rockstar Spud, and Rockstar quit after that because, for those of you that don't know, Swoggle is Hornswoggle. Yeah. Decay, Abyss and Crazy Steve with Rosemary defeated the Helms Dynasty, Andrew Everett and Trevor Lee. Sienna defeated Aliyah, one of Maria's goons. And Eddie Edwards defeated Ethan Carter III and Lashley to retain the TNA World Championship thanks to Davey Richards. That's right, Davey Richards finally shows his face in TNA and is back as well. And you know what, guys? If I can find it, I'll go back on. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you the results of the one night only pay-per-view as well. Yes, TNA back on pay-per-view. There's your shocker. I'll give you the results of the one night only pay-per-view as well. I could have sworn I did this earlier on. Goodness sake with this thing. Jan 5th. TNA. Let's see if I can sort this in. There we go. I found it. Right. I'll give you the one night only results as well. Because it was a one night only pay-per-view as well. If I can find it. The results were... Moose defeated Mike Bennett in an all-holds-barred non-title match. Rosemary retained her Knockouts title against Sienna, and I'm pretty sure what I call wasn't particularly pleased about that, Maria. DJZ defeated Braxton Sutter, Andrew Everett, Trevor Lee in an elimination match to retain the X Division title. Bram beats Robbie E. Shearer defeats Rocket. Jesse Goodall gets beat by James Storm. The Broken Hardys defeat Eli Drake and Tyrus to retain the tag team titles. Bobby Lashley gets a small measure of revenge against Davey Richards by beating him. And Eddie Edwards defeats EC3 to retain the TNA World Championship. So pretty much, guys, that is the end of the TNA bits. But it's a new era. Well, it's a new era. It's a new year, 2017. Let's hope things work out for TNA. Some questionable stuff, I must admit, in terms of having Jeff Jarrett back. But they've got rid of the main problem, Dixie. So let's see what Anthem can do with TNA, and hopefully they can get them back on track. Time will tell on that, of course. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick time out, guys. I'll be right back right after this with some What Culture stuff, I guess, in part 4. So, see you in a bit. If you enjoy the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out the Wrestling Matters podcast right now on YouTube at AJW Wrestling Matters. You can also check it out on SoundCloud at Wrestling_Matters_podcast. That's /Wrestling_Matters_podcast. Also, check it out on Radio Big World as well. For more information on them, you can check them out on SoundCloud and the Swerve Talk Network as well. For more each and every week of the Wrestling Matters podcast, weekly podcast that talk about the best in professional wrestling today, whether it's WWE, Ring of Honor, TNA, ICW, Progress Wrestling, and the list goes on and on. Only the best in professional wrestling. Why? Because wrestling matters, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrestling Matters podcast part 4. Hope you guys are well. I found 2. We're going to do 2 What Culture. We're going to do one in this part and one in the next part, which is part 5. This part is going to be the 10 worst pay-per-view matches. Yeah. 10 worst pay-per-view matches of 2016. And I'll get right into it. Number 16 was Charlotte and Natalya from Payback, I believe it was, this year, which had Brett in one corner, Ric Flair in the other. Now, this was okay, but the reason why this sucked, not the best way for Charlotte to come off a WrestleMania match with her cronies in the 4 Horsewoman and then go straight into this match, but Natalya did deserve it, because, blimmin' heck, I mean, if there's anybody who deserves a title, it's this woman, let me tell you. But anyway, all that happened, and then it ended up being at the end of the match, which made it the worst for me, in my opinion. They did a recreation of the Montreal screw job. They basically screwed Natalya the way they did with Brett in 97. And that poor sod obviously had flashbacks, and everybody was sick. It made everybody sick, quite frankly, including Michael Cole at ringside. But the best thing about it was seeing Ric Flair in the sharpshooter along with Charlotte. But the whole ending was just diabolical. Number 9, Ambrose and Ziggler from SummerSlam for the WWE World Championship. I disagree with this. I actually thought that match was alright. Alright, it wasn't the best match on the card, but I actually thought that match was alright, to be honest. That's just my opinion on it. You know, it wasn't the best match on the card, but it wasn't a worse match. It wasn't the worst match, in my opinion. Like I said, these two had a good match and everything. We all knew Ambrose was going to retain. And it did, like I say, it wasn't the best match on the card. That went to Cena and AJ STyles. In my opinion, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst. Next is Dana Brooke and Bayley. Well, the only reason is this. Bayley, I think, carried her in this match because Dana Brooke couldn't have a match with anybody at the moment. She's been rushed on the roster. The only reason they moved her to the main roster the way they did, in my opinion, and probably a few other people's opinions as well, is because her partner at the time, Emelina, was on the shelf. So, yeah, too much too soon on that one. Next one is WrestleMania's Ambrose versus Lesnar. Now, don't get me wrong, this would have been an excellent match, but all the ideas that Ambrose had were flushed out of the way by Brock, quite frankly, and that's why you got the match the way they did. And if you don't believe me, go and watch the Stone Cold podcast with Dean Ambrose, because apparently he was pitching all this stuff to Lesnar, and Lesnar wouldn't have any of it. So that's why you got the Ambrose beatdown at WrestleMania the way they did. It wasn't a good match. All the hype for it, it had the potential to steal the show, but it sounds like Brock Lesnar put it into that. Basically, well, if you believe Ambrose, that is. The next one is Nia Jax and Alicia Fox from the kickoff show. That's why it was on the kickoff show, and to be honest, I didn't see this. To be honest, that's why I don't hardly watch the kickoff shows. You have to give me a really good... trust me, I don't need a kickoff show to tell me or to convince me to buy a pay-per-view. I'm going to do it anyway. So I don't need a kickoff show to do that. The whole... I mean, I never saw this. It was just... it was what it was. The next one is Extreme Rules. Is Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho. Now, I did a video reaction to this during this pay-per-view, especially when Dean Ambrose put Chris Jericho in the thumbtacks, which was, holy shit, still haunts me that little bit this very day. You can still see the picture when you see the video back and everything, and the whole thing that made this not as good as we hoped it'd be is the fact that these two feuded over a jacket. Enough said, but I enjoyed the match for what it was. I think what made it the worst match on pay-per-view matches anyway was the fact that it was basically the jacket feud, quite frankly. The next one is The Miz and Darren Young. Darren Young had no business being in this title shot, quite frankly, and God knows what Bob Backlund was doing, but yeah, let's go back and watch the match. The match is even indescribable. Make Darren Young great again. Okay. The whole thing was just diabolical. The whole match was diabolical. And they had Darren Young snap it, and the whole thing was horrible. What the hell Backlund was doing in the match, I don't know, when he was taking his t-shirt off, and Miz lays one finger on him, on Bob Backlund, and then Darren Young just snaps, and the match ends in a double countout. It's god awful. Next is The Golden Truth and Breezango. Now, I think this was on the kickoff show as well, and the only reason this was even in, this is how you get a tag team over like Golden Truth to get their first victory. I believe they couldn't win a match at this point. And then they stick these two, Breezango, in a tanning spa, where you get the fake tans in that, and they barbecued them basically to the point where every time they touched them, it hurt. And that's how you get a tag team like Golden Truth to get a victory. 6 months of build, they have their first match and they lose. And that's how you get their first victory. Ridiculous. Next one, and I believe this is the number one, was Roman Reigns. Actually, no, it's number two. Roman Reigns and Triple H at WrestleMania. Just go back and watch the match. I was pretty much done by this point watching this WrestleMania. I think I did a live stream on this, and at that point, when it came to the WrestleMania match, the main event, I wanted to go to bed. I was like, I'm done. I'm going to bed. See you later. Adios. Night-night. The match was boring, if you ask me. And that's not a knock on Triple H or Roman Reigns. It wasn't good. It just wasn't good, in my opinion. And the whole thing was boring. It was just a boring main event, quite frankly. The whole idea was for to get Roman Reigns over, and poor Triple H, he failed, quite frankly. And number one is Curtis Axel and R-Truth. Now, this was at Fastlane. The United States title was defending on the pre-show between Kalisto and Alberto Del Rio. And they stuck that on the pre-show. And some wise ass came up with an idea. Oh yeah, let's add Curtis Axel and R-Truth to the pay-per-view. Random match. Let's just add them to the pay-per-view. Fucking pointless. Meant nothing. Had no meaning to it. Just a way to get them two on the pay-per-view. And at least we knew what the bathroom break was at this point. Because it was just atrocious. The whole thing was atrocious. Anyway, that is the 10 worst pay-per-view matches of 2016, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. That's shambolic, if you will. And after this quick time out, I'll be back with What Culture's 10 bold WWE predictions for 2017. So, stay tuned. Are you sick of professional wrestling? Do you want to speak your mind about professional wrestling? Well, if you like a wrestling podcast, why not tune in to the wrestling podcast where wrestling matters? The Wrestling Matters Podcast. Each and every week, I talk about the best in professional wrestling from WWE, TNA, ICW, Progress Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and the list goes on and on. Also, on the other occasions, I bring guests in as well to shoot the breeze about the one thing that I love, that we all love, professional wrestling. So join me each and every week for the Wrestling Matters Podcast on YouTube, AJW Wrestling Matters, the Wrestling Matters YouTube channel, SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/wrestling_matters_podcast, and any other podcasts that matters. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 5 of the Wrestling Matters Podcast. You know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to do the 10 predictions for WWE in 2017, and then what I've decided to do in part 6 is I'm going to run an outro with all the promotions like I usually do and everything like that, and I'm going to play WCPW Kirbymania full interview, the full review podcast that I did, in case you guys didn't see, just to let you know that it's there. If you want to go and listen to it as well, be sure to check that out. I'm going to play it on here as well. That's what I'm going to do. So just for the people that haven't checked out the Wrestling Matters channel, because that's where you can see it, it's exclusive. But me being the guy that I am, I'm going to play it for you. You know what, guys? I'm going to play it for you right now. This is the WCPW Kirbymania full show review podcast that I'm going to play the audio here right now. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you want to listen to it and check it out on the YouTube channel as well at AJW Wrestling Matters. Check it out on the YouTube channel as well. And enjoy. What is going on, beautiful people? It is me, the HEAD, at your service for another podcast. And you know what, guys? It's a new year. I thought I'd give you a WCPW podcast exclusive to the YouTube channel that is AJW Wrestling Matters, and you can download for free on SoundCloud as well. So yeah, it's a new year, guys. WCPW, and I've made some changes in these podcasts. I started doing podcasts on a weekly basis with these guys, and whenever they were on, basically, or whenever I could see them. It's a bit of hard work, and especially when you've got other stuff to do. So what I'm thinking of doing, guys, I'm going to give you this podcast today, which is Kirbymania, my review on this, and then I'm going to give you, if I can't do them like during the week, what I'm doing right now, basically. I'm recording this on Thursday, going into Friday morning. If I can't do it here, I'm going to add it to my podcast, the main podcast. So you're going to get a dose of WCPW come what may, so to speak. That's the plan from this point on. Because like I say, it is very difficult to bring you a podcast on WCPW and give WCPW its own podcast every week, considering the stuff that I've got to do, and considering we're now in the new year, and I've got a lot of stuff on my mind at the moment. So yeah, that's what I plan on doing from this point on. Like I said, if you have any suggestions, anything, hook me up on Twitter at WM Podcast or at Tony_Walker, whichever one suits you, and I'll take it from there. So, Kirbymania, Martin Kirby's very first show as WCPW GM. It was a good show. A lot of good stuff about it. I hate Dave Bradshaw, but I'll get to that later on. Oh man, I do not like Dave Bradshaw as a commentator. No wonder Raven put him in his place, but I'll get to that later. Bully Ray kicked off the show, and Kirby interrupts Kirby, who started the show, welcoming people to the show as the GM, and he demands a title shot, which next, on the 13th of January, it'll be Drew Galloway defending the WCPW Championship, not a world title, championship, not a world title yet. I'm pretty sure it will be soon, against Bully Ray. So it's going to be Drew Galloway one-on-one with Bully Ray next week, as I'm doing this now, on the 13th of January at WCPW Lights Out, which is exclusive to What Culture Extra. Hopefully it'll be on the YouTube channel, and hopefully I'll get to see it, but we'll see. But he demanded a match, and then Drew Galloway comes out, puts him in his place in a way, but then Bully got personal with him. And Slater and Moss saved Drew Galloway from the Swords of Essex and a Bully Ray beatdown, which led to a 6-man tag later on in the evening involving the Swords of Essex. And no, it's the Swords of Essex without Will Ospreay and Bully Ray facing the tag champs, Slater and Moss, and WCPW champion Drew Galloway as well. Anyway, that kerfuffle led to Joe Hendry versus Drake. It was a good match, but it kind of ended early because Joseph Connors showed up and attacked Hendry and challenged him to a no-holds-barred match later on in the evening, which Hendry would accept. One more match to settle the feud because, as you all know, Joseph Connors is a part of that WWE UK Championship tournament, which takes place, and apparently signed a contract with WWE as well. So this was the last time you will see Joseph Connors in WCPW. At least for the time being, at least. Gabriel Kidd went one-on-one with Ring of Honor World Television Champion Marty Scurll. Now, this was great, because Marty Scurll, being the villain, made asses out of the crowd. It was just funny as hell. Good little match. Marty did well. Kidd did extremely well too, but Marty, Mr. Experience, made him tap with the chicken wing as well. And like I said, Marty showed some good stuff, and Marty proved the reason why he's the reigning Ring of Honor World Television Champion at this point in time as well. So yeah, I mean, good stuff. Will we see more of Marty Scurll in WCPW? I hope so. I'll be talking about Progress Wrestling as well. Progress Wrestling Chapter 41 Unboxing Live. A good show, but a very weird show. That's coming soon. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as I was saying, is it Lena Austin? I hope I said that right. Versus Ivelisse. Now, many people probably wondering, who's Ivelisse? I believe she's a Tough Enough reject. Or she's appeared on Tough Enough. I believe it was the season where Stone Cold was in charge. Stone Cold was the host. I believe that. I might be wrong. But I believe it was the season where Stone Cold was on as well. But she had a good match with Lena Austin, and 2 good matches, and Beef Priestley tried to cause a distraction, but Ivelisse manages to get the victory. Where does that leave the women's division? I don't know, but a good little match. Nothing new, nothing exciting. Just 2 girls trying to make a name for themselves in the women's division in WCPW. And, like I said, Priestley tries to cause a distraction, along with what's left of the Pacitti Club. And, Ivelisse gets a victory. Experience matters. Now that Pete Dunne is no longer in WCPW, because, again, he's joining the WWE cast, the United Kingdom cast and all that. He had a great match between Joe Coffey. A very weird situation. Travis took it to Joe Coffey, no question about that, and Joe manages to win with the Black Coffee. But it was a very strange situation. A very weird situation. Doug Williams came to ringside, and recently in WCPW, he's had beef, if you will, with the people who come in from overseas, like Travis Banks coming in from New Zealand, maybe, I don't know, say Joe Coffey coming in from Scotland, well, say Drew Galloway coming in from America and all that. He's had beef with people like that. But when Joe Coffey got the victory, he seemed not to have liked it very much and walked to the back. He seemed a little bit upset about it. Is it, could we see a possible tag team form between Travis Banks and Doug Williams, despite what Dave Dickhead Bradshaw says? That's a different matter. I do not like Dave Bradshaw, for those of you that don't know. Oh man, I know it's clear as day. It's Adam Pacitti in his ear now, doing his old best Vince McMahon impersonation. But it's Adam Pacitti in his ear. But I, even with Pacitti in his ear, even with someone in his ear or whatever, I just do not like Dave Bradshaw as a commentator. I don't like Dave Bradshaw at all, to be honest, as a commentator. Period. Come back, GR. Even though JR's now with World of Sport, which Alex Shane is as well. Anyway, Prospect had a bit of an issue with Kennedy, because apparently they were going to Orlando, but Kennedy said he'd make it up to them. So Kennedy demanding a match for Prospect and everything, and Kirby agreed to it. It was Kirby and a mystery partner against Prospect, which the mystery partner turned out to be Alligero. Former GM Pacitti got on because he came out and Kirby made him hand out glow sticks to the crowd. Kirby's team did look to dominate. I mean, these two, Kirby and Ligero, do not like each other. It's well known if you watch previous WCPW events. But Kirby ended up chasing Kennedy to the back and left Ligero on his own, which allowed Prospect to get the victory. So where does that leave I don't know. WCPW Internet title. Zack Sabre Jr. challenges the American Nightmare, as he's now known as, Cody Rhodes. Cody came out with the Bullet Club thing at the beginning. Apparently he wrestled a couple of days ago as well at the Wrestle Kingdom, and then got on the plane and came straight over to Liverpool, which was, wow, a feat in itself, let me tell you. But, yeah, Cody Rhodes in a great match. Zack worked on Cody's arm for most of the match and basically just stretched the hell out of him. It was just a phenomenal match. Great wrestling match. Great moves. Hold for hold, move for move. And Cody countered a move that he was in by Zack and changes it into the Crossroads and gets the victory. Basically, it was the match that stole the show. Let's just put it that way. Let's just tell it as it is. It was a match that stole the show. The six-man tag saw Bully Ray and the Swords of Essex, not the Swords of Essex with Will Ospreay, even though he's a member, versus Slater, Moss, and Galloway. Drew manhandled Robinson in this match, which basically was the story of the match for Paul Robinson, because he got bounced around like Rey Mysterio did at Newcastle show that I went to see when he was in a match with Great Khali and Batista. That's for another day. Champion was in trouble. Bully's team dominated the champion. Bully Ray's team in control, and they actually worked very well together. But Bully ended up using the chain on Moss, and Paul Robinson gets the victory for the team. And that all leads to Lights Out on the What Culture Extra website show, which is the on-demand service, like an ICW, like a Progress. But I see most of the stuff, like most of the loaded shows and all that. I can get them downloaded and shit like that, and I don't feel the need to go on What Culture Extra at the moment. Although I am thinking about it, no doubt about that. Connors and Hendry in a no-holds-barred match. Fight starts on the ramp, just a wrestling match, which was very weird since it was a no-holds-barred match. It might as well have been a wrestling match from the start, to be honest with you. What is the point? I mean, I understand this is to end the feud and everything, but what is the point of having a no-holds-barred hardcore match if it's just going to be a wrestling match? You'd be best off just making a no disqualification, no count-out singles match, quite frankly. But it was a great match nonetheless. Connors ended up finally getting the chair and uses it, but Henry countered and wins with the ankle lock, something he probably learned from his match with Kurt Angle. All in all, guys, it was a great show all around. Despite listening to Dave Bradshaw, I mean, people have always said to me the problem with WCPW is they use the staff like Pacitti and Blumpier and all that to get over instead of the wrestlers. To a point, that's true, but that's what makes it fun for me in a way, seeing all these established guys that you probably wouldn't see in the wrestling ring. And the last time you saw Adam Blumpier in a wrestling ring, he got destroyed by Rampage Brown. But my issue with WCPW is Dave Bradshaw. I think he's horrible. I do not like him. I do not like listening to him. He has a big, huge problem with Martin Kirby. What that is, I don't know. You can't get on the Kirby train, as you probably would call. I like Martin Kirby. I don't have a problem with him whatsoever. I just have a problem with Dave Bradshaw. I do not like him one bit. And if he's listening to this, if he somehow listens to this, I couldn't care less, mate. You can block me. You can, quite frankly, you can kiss my ass. All I'm saying is this. No wonder Raven put you in your place, pal. I do not like Dave Bradshaw. End of. But all in all, I do like WCPW. I enjoyed the show tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed this show. If you watched it as well on YouTube, on the What Culture Wrestling YouTube channel. My name is Anthony Walker for the Wrestling Matters podcast. Tune in to episode 145 of the Wrestling Matters podcast upcoming, because I'm going to little preview right now. There is a rumor flying around that it's going to be Roman Reigns and The Undertaker at Wrestlemania. You want to hear more about it? Tune in to episode 145 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. And until next time, guys, my name is Anthony Walker. Wrestling Matters, right here on the Wrestling channel. Subscribe if you're new. Download it for free on SoundCloud.com/wrestling_matters_podcast. And until then, peace out.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kinny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shugs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part 5 of the Wrestling Matters part 6 rather of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed that little audio from the Kirbymania. I thought I'll put that in as well, just to let you guys know here on the Swerve Talk Network, or wherever you guys are listening, in case you don't check out my YouTube channel or anything like that, or the SoundCloud as well. Check all that out as well. It's all there. You know, it's good stuff, man. It really is. It's really good stuff. The Kirbymania, that's my first one I've done of the year as well, and it's apparently got good reviews. So if you want to listen to it again, download it for free on SoundCloud and check it out on the YouTube channel as well. But I thought I'd play it for you guys here on the Swerve Talk Network as well, because that's what I'm going to do from now on. I'm going to do WCPW podcast separate if I can do it on there, and if I can, I'll either review the show on this podcast or I'll play the audio on this podcast as well. That's what I'm going to do from now on, you know, just to let you guys know, because many of you people might listen to this and think, WCPW podcast, you know, I haven't checked that out yet or anything like that. So it's just to give you that. What I did before the break was just to give you a little hint of what's on the, you know, on the YouTube channel as well, because that is on the YouTube channel and it's also on SoundCloud as well. You can download it for free. But that's what I do as well in terms of WCPW. I'm trying to fit them all in one podcast, but I don't want this podcast to, like, you know, drown out, if you will, or you guys get bored of it. I try and make the best podcast and talk about the best in professional wrestling as best I can. Right. Now we got that out the way, let's talk about the 10 predictions, according to What Culture, for WWE in 2017. This is the second bit of the podcast. This is the second bit of the show. There's a lot of predictions as well, and breaking news on this podcast as well. It looks like Rey Mysterio, if I'm not mistaken, I'm just checking this out right now and about to record, about to go through the podcast there. Apologies for that. If you hear the noise, because like I said, I've got the video up here. I do believe that Rey Mysterio is coming to WCPW. From what I'm seeing here, I'm going to check it out now, just run through this. I believe he's coming to WCPW. I might be wrong. Probably not. Yeah, it's in Newcastle. WCPW event in Newcastle. And yeah, Rey Mysterio is coming to WCPW. They had a vignette of him, or video of him in Newcastle. Rey Mysterio's coming to WCPW, guys. There's a video on it. Booyaka. On the What Culture YouTube channel. Rey Mysterio's coming to WCPW. So that should be good. But in any event, guys, let's move on from that and let's talk about the main topic that we're here. And that is the 10 bold WWE predictions for 2017, according to What Culture as well. I would imagine there'll be a lot of predictions in that respects as well. So, yeah, I mean, we have to wait and see most of them. I've already talked about what's coming up in terms of The Undertaker, and I would imagine that'll be mentioned on here as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. There's all this like predictions of what's going to happen, how it's all going to pan out, who's going to be in the big four, you know, who's going to do this, who's going to do what. You know, it's going to be huge, man. It's going to be huge. But anyway, the 10 bold WWE predictions for 2017. Number 10 was they reduced the pay-per-views. Yes, no more 2 pay-per-views a month. Gaga. That's gone, thankfully. It's gone back to once a month now on the pay-per-views. So, you know, them 2 pay-per-views that you got towards the end of the year of 2016, it's over. Everything's back to normal now. You know, 1 pay-per-view, 1 a month. You know, hopefully it'll happen. Now, there's talk about, number 9 was, there's talk about DDP being in the Hall of Fame, which is confirmed. There's talk about Rick Rude being in there as well. I haven't heard that being confirmed yet. But apparently it's going down, and if there's anyone who deserves it, it's Rick Rude. But number 9 bold prediction for What Culture is Daniel Bryan going in the Hall of Fame. There's, I mean, I don't know if they're going to do it this year, though, because the fact that, you know, all right, he's not an in-ring performer anymore, but he's an on-air talent You know, he's the GM of SmackDown and everything. But, you know, a year after, I believe Edge had his neck broken, or Edge retired due to a neck injury, they put him in the Hall of Fame. Same with Shawn Michaels, a couple of years, maybe a year for him as well. Yeah, we have to wait and see how that pans out, basically. Number 8 is everybody seems to want to see this based off what's been going on SmackDown. People want to see Daniel Bryan have one more match with The Miz. All based off his little, you know, the talking smack situation, all the rants and everything like that. You know, people want to see Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. It'll probably be a shoo-in for WrestleMania if it went ahead with it, but at the end of the day, it's a simple ethical thing to do because, I mean, these two go back to when NXT was a game show because The Miz was the coach of Daniel Bryan on NXT, and it's been going, and this rivalry in a way has been going ever since. They never seem to get along, and based off what happened on SmackDown and over the SmackDown, it's a simple fact of life, basically. We have to wait and see how that pans out, you know, if that happens or not. Because everybody knows that Daniel Bryan, all the other doctors have cleared Daniel Bryan. There's just one doctor that won't clear him, and that is WWE, unfortunately. The next one is the Cruiserweights finally flourish. I said this to Dave Burnham, I said this to Michael Larkin as well, and I'll say this again. What the best thing to do for the Cruiserweights is take them off the main roster, take them off Raw. They've got 205. Just give them their own show, basically. Just put them on there and have their own brand for now until they can, you know, help them get established on that way and then go from there, basically, because the Cruiserweights have done fuck all on Raw, on the main roster, and the Cruiserweights have done fuck all. The Cruiserweights have done anything. It's just a simple way to do, you know, just take them all off, whether they're on SmackDown or whoever's in the Cruiserweight division, take them all in and just stick them on the NXT, on the 205 Live. Let them go to NXT to get established a bit more. That's fine, but keep them away from the roster, and then when it's ready, get them back on the roster. But I hope, to be honest, all in all, that's just my opinion on that. But all in all, I hope they really finally flourish on the main roster this year as well, because if they don't, then the whole thing's been a waste of time. And it's a shame to say, because I was actually looking forward to the Cruiserweight division, but it seems that they've only brought the Cruiserweight division back just so that, because the last time the Cruiserweight division was here, the last Cruiserweight champion was Hornswoggle. I think it seems that they've only brought that back to get rid of that thing, the last Cruiserweight champion being Hornswoggle. Kind of thing. The next one is James Ellsworth winning gold. Now, when I saw this for the first time, I thought, like, oh god, don't tell me he's going to be winning the WWE tag team titles again, for fuck's sake. The WWE tag, that is. You know, hypothetically speaking, hopefully it won't happen. Keep him well away from the WWE championship. But James Ellsworth as a tag team champion is what it is, really, isn't it? At the end of the day, it is what it is. Would it work? Maybe. I don't know if I'll put Baron Corbin with him, but, you know, James Ellsworth as a tag team champion. I'm just glad at the end of the day they finally got rid of them fucking bronze belts that they had. But anyway. SmackDown overtakes Raw. Well, they've already had a start of that. Because SmackDown has beaten Raw once since the brand split, so there's already been something of that as well. So basically, they're right in this respect. But will it overtake Raw and become, you know, more superior in terms of the ratings? We'll have to wait and see on that one as well. Yeah, I can see it happening because, with all due respect to the guys on Raw, you know, the Seth Rollins and the Roman Reigns and that, SmackDown has the better brand. To be honest with you, it's the more superior brand, and it's the brand with brains, I say, as well, because Raw at the moment, and the reason why it's a clusterfuck, in my opinion, 3 hours. And I think they were talking about this on this new show they've got on the network as well. It needs to be 2 hours. The next one is going back to the two-man commentary team. This needs to happen. Because, like I said, I mean, I don't give a damn about Watonga. At least with Otunga, he could say a name properly, unlike Mike Adamle before. There's talk about having, well, from this anyway, the prediction is, from what I'm seeing anyway, that as far as the two-man commentary team, Corey Graves and Michael Cole for Raw, and for SmackDown, Ronaldo and JBL. Now, considering how them two are at the moment, JBL blocking Ronaldo on Twitter and that, it's amazing they could get along. But, yeah, I would be happy to see this happen. I would definitely be happy to see this happen. Would JBL be in there? I don't know. But I'd be happy to see a two-man team, because I don't mind the three-man team on Raw, but all Cole and Graves, mainly Graves, do is bully Byron Saxton. But the thing that annoys me about the commentary team now is the freaking SmackDown announce team. You've got 4 guys there. You've got Ronaldo, Otunga, and JBL, and you've got Todd Phillips on the right. A guy who doesn't even talk during the friggin' matches. What the fuck is he there for? Is he there to take over Ronaldo's position? Is he there to replace Otunga? Is he there to replace JBL? It's just, at the moment right now, the WWE announce team is just one big clusterfuck at the moment. And it desperately, desperately needs sorting out, and sorting out big time. Lawler's not around anymore. Plus, Booker T is now going for mayor of Houston, apparently. Yeah, the announced teams need sorting out. Mainly SmackDown. Cena works only 6 months a year is the next one. Yeah, he's got other shows now. He's got American Great. He's been filming what I call it, Saturday Night Live and everything like that. He's been appearing in other shows and everything, and many people think he's turning into The Rock and everything. His feud with The Rock based on him coming back after 7 years and that. It is what it is. John Cena is fading away, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this next one I don't get. A John Cena AJ double turn. Yes, they've got somebody who they can cheer for at the end of the day. But I'm sorry, guys. Nothing against AJ, but if I hear this Cena heel turn one more time, I'm going to throw up, or I'm going to bang my head against a brick wall. I will believe a Cena heel turn when I see it. Is it going to happen? No. He's made that crystal clear. Yes, they boo him out the building and chant, John Cena sucks, and this, that, and the other. But, get over it. It's not going to happen. Okay? Yes, they'll cheer AJ. Yes, they'll cheer, this, and this. It's got to stop. It really has got to stop. Now, but will it happen? There's rumours about it being happening. It still talks about it. Apparently, somebody in the creative team on SmackDown was really pulling for a heel turn in terms of John Cena running a group on SmackDown, like a Hulk Hogan kind of thing. But will it happen? I doubt that very much. Double turn. So I'm guessing Cena turning heel, Styles becoming babyface. I don't know what will happen, but all I know is Cena's not turning heel anytime soon. I can predict that right now. If there's anybody who needs to turn heel, it's Roman Reigns. But that's another issue for another day. And the final one is, like I talked earlier on today, Undertaker retires as champion. I've already talked about it. From what I read from that article, Undertaker seems to be going into the Royal Rumble, seems to be winning the Royal Rumble as well. And there's possible matches with him against Cena at WrestleMania, him against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I would prefer him to be the WWE World Champion instead of the Universal Champion, but, who knows? At the end of the day, as long as he goes out champion, it is what it is at the end of the day. I wouldn't care nonetheless. I don't get the fact that he came out on SmackDown and said, he's SmackDown's boy, SmackDown's always been in home, and then he's coming on Raw. But anyway, that's what's probably going to happen tonight on Raw anyway. But Undertaker going out as champion, I'm all for that. No question about it. But there you have it, guys. That is the 10 poll predictions for WWE in 2017, according to What Culture. Some you agreed with, some you disagreed with. If you agreed with it, or if you've got something to say, drop it in the comments on YouTube as well, or let me know at WM Podcast on Twitter. Same with the other top 10 that I did before the Kirbymania review podcast that I did, when I played that audio as well. And I'll be back after the break with after this one final time out, after a break, whatever you want to do, this one final time out, guys, with an audio, with an outro, and plus a few other things to look forward to in the podcast. Plus, a bit more, like I said, a reminder of Wrestle Island as well. So look out for that, and see you in a bit. If you enjoy the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out the Wrestling Matters podcast right now on YouTube at AJW Wrestling Matters. You can also check it out on SoundCloud at Wrestling_Matters_podcast. That's /Wrestling_Matters_podcast. Also, check it out on Radio Big World as well. For more information on them, you can check them out on SoundCloud and the Swerve Talk Network as well. For more each and every week of the Wrestling Matters podcast, weekly podcast that talk about the best in professional wrestling today, whether it's WWE, Ring of Honor, TNA, ICW, Progress Wrestling, and the list goes on and on. Only the best in professional wrestling. Why? Because wrestling matters, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Hope you guys have enjoyed the podcast. I'm going to do a quick outro right now. Like I say, quick reminder, guys. Swerve Talk Network, each and every week. You know where it's at. Daz, Max Wrestling, Sunday Segway, Offshoot Radio, and the list goes on and on. Also, S&M Show podcast is coming there soon as well, so be sure to look out for that as well. And it's good stuff, man. Just check them out each and every week. Support the podcasting family that we are. And check out Max Wrestling each and every week as well with your host, Dazzy Dangerously as well. Dazzy Lee. Great guy, check him out. You will not be disappointed on that show, no question about that. He's a passionate wrestling fan like I am, and like I said, you will not be disappointed. Also, check out, if you enjoyed the podcast as well, check out our Facebook at WM Podcast, Twitter, WM Podcast as well. Also, check out the YouTube channel as well at Wrestling_Matters. No, that's the SoundCloud Wrestling_Matters_podcast. At the AJW Wrestling Matters as well. Be sure to check all of that good stuff out on YouTube as well. The Wrestling Matters channel where you can listen to this podcast each and every week. I'm looking to do some other projects on that channel as well. But like I said, I need to sort a few things out first. But yeah. That about wraps it up for this podcast, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Shout out to all the partners as well. RFW, Raging Falcon, and the list goes on and on. Be sure to check out the Wrestling Matters podcast next week. One quick final reminder, guys, as well. Just to remind you about Wrestle Island as well. March 26th. For more information, go to facebook.com/Wrestle Island. As well, Sean Only is coming back to the island to the island on the 26th of March as well this year. Little Theatre, Grange Road, West Birkenhead. Like I say, for more information, go to facebook.com/Wrestle Island. And for more information on Mystery Island as well, who is hosting the show as well, facebook.com/Back to the Island. My name is Anthony Walker. Check out the Michael Larkin Wrestling Unleashed that I did this week as well, this past week. Also, check out a Ruthless Aggression Era podcast extra show that I did with Dave as well. All of that is on SoundCloud. Check them all out. I'm Anthony Walker, Wrestling Matters, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, peace out.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Professional wrestling, this is it. This is us standing up. Yes, 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 yes. That's 13-14. Make it till death.
Dina, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold Simpson.